I've been working in the intimacy, sexuality field for a number of years, and whenever we put on events or I'm hosting these different spaces or attending to festivals and so on, there is this beautiful safer sex dialogue that I love to share, and I want to share it with you all today. It's called R.B.D.S.M.A. R.B.D.S.M.A. And it's used in different circles with slightly different letters, but ultimately it's an opportunity to have a dialogue before you engage with an intimate encounter. Many people I share this with say, why would I share these things, or why would I have this dialogue before? And what I say, and many of my friends and others in the field, is have this dialogue sooner than later and learn how to embody it and weave it into your interactions. And the people I've shared it with, so often they come up to me after and say, wow, thank you so much for sharing this with me. I wish my daughter knew this, or I wish I knew this when I was younger. So R.B.D.S.M.A. R stands for relationships. Where are you at right now in your relationship? Yeah. What's your relationship status? And who, if we get into an encounter, needs to be included and brought into this field around relating? In this part as well, you could maybe share, are you polyamorous? Are you open? Are you monogamous? Are you pansexual? What's your sexual orientations? Maybe you can even talk about gender here as well. So you can just start to open the field of exploration around your relationships. Maybe you've just come out of a toxic relationship or a challenging relationship, or maybe a long-term relationship, and there's a lot going on for you. And it's good that we know that, because that might spark, this encounter might spark up a lot of emotions. So from R, we move into B, boundaries. If anybody tells you they don't have boundaries, let that be a bit of a red flag. Everybody has boundaries. Just often we don't know what our boundaries are, me included. I'm always learning about my boundaries, and they change all the time. There's a beautiful story about the children. You may have heard this in a playground, and they didn't have any fences or any parameters of the playground. And the children all congregated in one small area in a close place. And when they put a fence up around the outside of the school to give them more space, the children went right up to the edge of the fence. So they had this parameter, they had this structure that enabled them to be more free, to be curious, to explore, and to feel safer. So communicate your boundaries. What's a yes? What's a no? What are you wanting to explore? Yeah. And then we move from boundaries into desires. Sometimes I do desires before boundaries, but you can play with that. But desires is, what do you desire? What is in the field here? Why are we attracted to each other? What's going on? And what would you like to do? What would you like to explore? Maybe you just want to hug. Maybe you want to talk. Maybe you want to get closer. Maybe you're curious. Maybe you're just desiring passion, and you're so attracted to this being that you want to get wildly intimate with them. Maybe you want to just take your clothes off and just bring your energies close together but not touch, and see how that feels. Maybe you have a desire for a threesome and you want to, or foursome or fivesome, and you want to bring this person into that. Who knows? But this is where you share all of your desires. And remember, with any of these things, they change as you go along. So you might start with a certain desire, and as the intimacy grows and gets more, those desires change. And I always say that that's a time when you stop again and pause and breathe and communicate that. And don't just fall into the shadow side of our boundaries and desires and then end up doing things we don't really want to. So take a breath in on that. From desires, we move to S, sexual health, STIs. When was you last tested? Have you been tested? Have they been tested? And when you got tested, what did you get tested on? You know, there's many sexually transmitted infections, some of them common, like herpes or chlamydia, gonorrhea, or, you know, maybe there's thrush, maybe there's some activated herpes or inactive. But this is a time when you can share about that. This is also a time where you might want to share about what would happen if you may get pregnant. What would come up if that happened? Yeah, so in this area, you can share anything around this safety and this part of the sexual health. From sexual health, we move to M, meaning. Meaning. What does this mean for you? Maybe it means nothing. Maybe it means a new chapter of exploration. Maybe you're looking for a long-term life partner, and this would mean a step in towards that. Yeah. Sometimes people are like, well, I don't know what it would mean. And that's okay. Maybe you don't know. But just having the dialogue around meaning can really change and can really open up the inquiry. Some people haven't even thought about that. So meaning moves you into one of my favorites, which is aftercare. Aftercare. Not everyone adds this into the sequence. Sometimes aftercare is also added in meaning. But aftercare for me is, how do you want to be cared for? How do we hold each other's heart? How many of you have ever had that experience where you connect, there's a lot of attraction and there's a lot of chemicals moving, there's a lot of like, yeah, I want to connect, I want to get into this, and then the connection happens and then it fizzles out, and then there's gaslighting, or there's avoidance, or there's absolutely no interaction. Yeah, that happens a lot. So this is where you share how you'd like to connect afterwards. Maybe a day later, maybe a week later, maybe you want to bring partners in or include them too. Everything's open to exploration here. And maybe you hear somebody's aftercare and you're like, wow, that's a lot for me. Maybe I don't have capacity for that right now. That's perfect. Then you would just be like, hey, I'm not going to embark on an encounter with you right now because I don't have capacity for that. It's also beautiful. So there you have it. R.B.D.S.M.A. Please don't see it as this kind of mechanical way of communicating. Learn how to slowly do it and be vulnerable and open. And the more you practice, even with friends or in these intimate spaces that you go and explore, the more it will just become part of your internal dialogue, that this is the way that you want to engage. It's beautiful. And it might also weave over different times. Maybe you take a day to have this dialogue, or a week, or whatever you feel, you weave it into a number of different encounters to see and explore this beautiful being that you might go on a deeper journey with. So have fun, be playful with it. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments and I'm happy to answer them. And I'm exploring with this too. I love transparent communication. I love authentic communication. And this for me is an opportunity to exercise that. And as always, do the best you can. Don't beat yourself up. This isn't about shaming and blaming. This is about really exploring the foundations of a space of going into these quite sensitive and at times traumatic and volatile spaces with more authenticity.